Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Social. We'd like to welcome back to the show the one and only singer extraordinaire, Julie Black is here. Welcome back.
Happy works for me.
Oh, yeah. Happy works for you. Listen, you ready to mix it up?
Yes, always. Always.
Well, I don't know if you've all heard, but one of Hollywood's hottest couples has split up. After 3 years of dating, Channing Tatum and Zoë Kravitz are donezo. People is reporting that they have called off their engagement, and you have to say that maybe this is a little shady, because the fiance of Channing's ex-wife, Jenna Dewan, he posted this on Instagram.
Oh, wow. Petty boots.
So we don't know why he posted it, but we think we know why he posted it. Julie, are you surprised by this breakup?
I'm not surprised by any Hollywood breakups, to be honest with you. You know, how they got together, we don't know, but at the end of the day, there's always some whales and sharks and everything in the sea. Just move on.
Just move on. Okay.
I don't know why this is even a story, because think about it. How many of these couples have we seen meet on set, fall in love? Brad and Jen, Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn. We could go on. There's so many couples that meet that way. And first, when you really think about it, when you think about it in terms of regular people, this is an office romance. Because we're regular, this is the equivalent of an office romance. And get this, 60% of adults have had an office romance.
Okay.
And why is that? Well, you spend 4 times as much time with your people at your office than you do with your actual friends and family. And also you're around each other, so that there's
work husband.
Yeah, it's that familiarity. You're going for lunch. And can you imagine that's heightened if you're an actor? You're having love scenes. You're making out with each other. You're spending, you're in that trailer doing God knows what, right? So to me, this all makes sense. So I don't even think of this as a story. The movie's done, and they're kind of like, you know what?
I don't know. I was a little bit surprised by this. I don't know why. Maybe you're right.
3 years plus, though.
3 years is a good run. And I think maybe why we're confused, I believe we talked about it on the show. They did a movie together recently that she directed. And he put up a post on his Instagram that was basically declaring his love for her. She was asleep in his lap. I don't know if you remember that. And it was just kind of like, she worked so hard. She was directing him. Mm-hmm. He had also talked about how challenging that was.
I know. Well, he had a comment about the type of boss, some sort of something. What did he say again?
She was scared of her.
She was scared.
She was scary.
There's some black in her blood.
There's a lot.
What does that mean?
There's black in her blood.
There's a lot.
Okay. Are you gonna say that she's a scary boss? Like, listen.
Speak on it, Julie.
I'm just saying.
So that
could be a thing. That could have been one of those things. Like, okay,
it's a weird description.
It's a weird description.
Okay, so what do you think about?
It's a weird description.
What do you think about
It's a weird description. What if I was like, I'm worth a white guy, and I'm like, he's giving master energy.
Oh, I hear you.
Okay.
I hear what
you
you're
think
saying.
that was maybe a straw that broke the camel's back
been the
for
straw.
Zoe? I mean, they are going to be hours before this breakup sort of became news on People. He did post on his Instagram stories that they're doing another movie together. They're acting in it together, which is set to start recording in the new year. So do we think
is that still going to happen?
Is that still going to happen?
Americans will not mess up the bag.
Yeah.
They will not
Follow the money.
Or the agents right now are like, let's just rework that contract and get rid of him out of this movie.
Okay, so I want to start at the very beginning, because I'm still getting over the fact that these two were ever a couple in the first place.
They look
I don't know, they're both gorgeous, but I was just like, how does one meet? And I guess it was obviously on the movie set, but I was like, her stepdad is Lenny Kravitz. Her mother is Lisa Bonet. She's the coolest chick on the planet. No shade.
It's biological.
Yeah. Lisa Bonet.
Jason Momoa is her stepdad.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. Right, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, my point being, she's such a cool chick.
I'm saying she's black.
Yes, she is.
Drop rule.
She's so cool, and no shade to Channing Tatum. I was just like, I don't know if he's cool enough to be with Zoe Kravitz. So I never got that.
I don't care about the cool.
When you see them together, when they look together, they look amazing. But then you bring in this now, the story that we showed off the top, which is Channing's ex-wife's now husband. Mm-hmm. Now, is that just coincidence or conspiracy? So the fact is they were so lovey-dovey, and then all of a sudden it's over, which makes me think, what happened? What happened? And then you see the story, ha, 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 ha. So all of us are just...
What's he look like?
You know what?
I don't know. He's a regular degular.
So I just want to know, what do you think happened? That's what we're left.
Put his picture up on ha, ha, ha. Yeah. Give his face
and also be careful about ha, ha, ha-ing at somebody else's relationship, because yours could be over and 2 minutes later, you'll be ha, Hello. Karma's always waiting. All right, so let's move on. There's a viral TikTok of a woman reading out her brother's proposal plan that he wrote when, get this, when he was just 9 years old at his own wedding. Here's a snippet. Listen to this.
It is midnight, and I sneak you onto our private jet. You wake up while we are in the air, and I don't tell you where we are, but I kiss you, and I tell you I have everything taken care of.
That's beautiful.
All right, so it's cute, right? Okay, so did your romantic reality match your childhood fantasy?
Oh, okay. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I need to go back one step because I have a 10-year-old daughter and I think she's quite smart. And even at 10 years old, this kid at 9, I don't think he wrote that.
Why?
I'm going to be this conspiracy theorist. It is really fancy writing for, I used to be a teacher. This is very, and I'm not saying it's not possible. This is rare that a 9-year-old boy is writing this. It was perfect sentence structure. What 9-year-old boy knows about French Polynesia, right? If you listen to
I don't like class at school, Melissa.
I don't buy it. Now, something smells off to me.
Creative writing class at school, Melissa.
I've been with these kids. Trust me, he's not writing like this. However, to answer your question, Andrea, I was never the girl who had dreams of getting married and had these visions of this like white wedding. I literally was like, with boys, and I never thought until I met my husband, and I never thought about it once.
I was dreaming.
Okay, who did you dream about? Who was your fantasy person?
No, see, I didn't have like a fantasy person. Actually, I did have a little fantasy person. It was really ridiculous. It was like a homeboy from like Three's Company. It was stupid.
Yeah.
But I will say, crazy.
I get it.
But I dreamt of getting married. I knew the year. I mean, we're way late now, but I knew how old I was gonna be.
Really? Did any of the elements kind of come up?
I knew I was gonna marry an American.
No way.
Sorry, Canadians, I'm marrying an American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were very clairvoyant about who you were going to be with, even when you were really, really young.
Yeah, protector, provider. I just knew, but I was with the breadcrumbs. I was with the breadcrumbs.
Did you just call single men breadcrumbs?
Yes! All type of breadcrumbs when I should have just waited for the whole loaf that I got.
You're killing me.
Love it.
All right, so I was always indifferent about marriage, but I did have a fantasy man who I thought for sure I was going to marry. This man was everything. He was a triple threat. He was also Trinidadian, and I was like, oh, I'm sold. Every time I saw him, my heart melted. You guys might know him. If you could put up his picture right now, so you guys can see the man.
Stop it right now. Yes.
His name is Alfonso Ribeiro. Most of you know him from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But before he was on that show, he was a star of a show called Silver Spoons.
Oh.
Y'all are too young to know that it was a show that Jason Bateman and Ricky Schroeder were on, and I would watch that show and just be like, just if we met, I knew we would fall in love. But now,
well,
the reality is like,
maybe it's
You
still
never
your
know.
mind out
he is
there.
happily married with children, so that's not gonna happen.
There you go.
Business Insider is reporting that Gen Z is increasingly planning family trips while their parents foot the bill. So we're talking about high school and college-aged kids. So how much say should children have in planning a family vacation? Julie, what do you think about this?
The whole planning and flip the bill, I think they're just spinning it kind of negative. Like, and the parents flip the bill. Like, I like that the kids are involved, right? Bring the family together. I wish they had a title for us when I was their age, because that was me.
Oh, you would try to
but
plan
give
family?
ideas, plan. I'm still like that. Let's just go here, there. Let's do games. It's a thing. I was just at a party in Jamaica, 50th birthday. My friend Lisa Washington, shout outs, and the kids were doing it.
Yeah.
Having a good time, but they couldn't hold a candle to us on the dance floor, though.
Yes, very nicely said. Yes.
So I think it's important. It creates dialogue, and it'll keep that. I think it'll help them as they get older to bring those traditions. What's going on with traditions?
Yeah, but not bringing them to the next generation.
Right?
Well, you guys have 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds?
11-year-old.
How involved are they in the planning for family vacations?
Marqueza is at the age where she hates us, and traveling with us. She's an only child, so traveling for her is a little different. She doesn't have fun. She's like, really, if I have to go to one more museum, Mom, it's like, and I get that, right? However, where I see this story, much like what you're saying, Julie, is that I know I only have this many years left with her that she's going to want to hang with us at all. So if she's like, Mom, I really want to do X. Like, of course, you're my one and only. Of course we're gonna do it because it's time together. And I think as they get older, if they leave and come back, this is maybe the one big thing of the year your family might really do together to make memories. So I don't know who's dogging on this generation for being involved. There's a lot of reasons to dog on Gen Z. This is not one of them.
I think that maybe some people are assuming, like, I remembered family vacations when I was a kid, and a lot of times they involved, like, a station wagon and a road trip for days in a stinky car. Does anyone remember those?
Memories,
Yes.
Good memories in hindsight.
No seatbelts and smoking in cars.
Yeah,
That's what I remember.
So I think, like, you never chose. Kids didn't get any say. It was like, we're going to Florida. Like, that's what's happening because that's what we can afford. So I think the difference in this generation is that we don't do that. We don't have a lot of discomfort in our own lives. Certainly our kids don't have that much discomfort. So I think some people are maybe seeing that kids are saying, like, okay, mom and dad, I want to go here next. And if the family didn't really want to do that and they're just letting the kids dictate, I can see why some people maybe take a bit of issue with this.
Yeah, but everybody's going on the trip, so everybody should be in agreement as to where they're going, especially when you have adult children. For us, we actually didn't celebrate Christmas in the traditional way. We went on vacation as a family every single year because my mom's like, you don't need another toy, and I don't want to see you just opening gifts for hours and hours and then, forgetting about them. We're going away, and this is our family time. And we did that well into my adult years. I was still in my 20s, and that was the one thing. Sunday dinners and a vacation once a year.
Did you get to say pick where?
We would have a discussion because we know the last trip, it's like, yeah, we don't like that place, let's go. We did a lot of cruising because it was just easier. But of course it was a discussion. I think maybe even it's a North American culture thing where your children kind of like get to a certain age and you're just kind of going, okay, you go and you do your own thing. I don't think you should ever let go of the idea that Marquesa will be with you on all of your family vacations, even when she starts to have her own family, her own children.
That's right.
Why would you even think that she should go anywhere? She should want to travel with her parents.
Did you hear that? Auntie Andrea said you're with me for life.
Right. I want to just jump in and say, you know what else I realized as an adult now is that I took for granted those trips to parts of Jamaica that I was like, oh, do we have to go again? And now I'm like, where could I buy a house and build in that same part of Jamaica? And so I really want the younger generation to be like, to appreciate, right, that we've emigrated to this country, Canada. Hey, guess what? We get to go back, especially in this case, and see the beauty and learn your culture and learn the traditions that are getting lost. It's big, it's nice.
Yeah, and you haven't lived until you've been seatbelt free in the back of a station wagon.
That's right.
You really have.
That is absolutely right.
Amazing.
And
That's right.
tape.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's move on. All right, since everything old is new again, it was going to be a matter of time before the trucker hat came back in style. Check out, you guys are clapping for this? Check out Kylie Jenner sporting a Von Dutch on the cover of Elle magazine. So are you here for the snapback trucker hat comeback?
I'm gonna say this. Trucker hats must have just came back for white people. Because I wear trucker hats to do my step aerobics. I flip it to the back. I said, what type of, we're talking about this? And then Kylie puts it up, and now she's gonna make a bag of money off of her wearing the trucker hat with probably her lip gloss. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm not disagreeing. Mel?
I was gonna say, I was also like, even though, I used to sport a Von Dutch and a Juicy Couture pink velour suit back in my day.
That's not surprising at all.
Not surprising at all, but I was also sporting specifically the trucker hat and specifically the John Deere trucker hat. I wish I had a picture for you, but that was my jam before it was hot, before Paris Hilton was wearing it, before Nicole Richie was wearing it, because I am a legit farm girl. We legit wear those hats to do farm work. To your point, you just put it on, hair up, and off you go. So, great. What's old is new again, but you're right. Who is leading the charge makes me wonder, how much did she get paid for that photo?
But do we really need to see it come back?
No, I don't understand it. I actually don't understand. I don't find it hot. I never did that look. The only people, I don't find it hot on truckers. I don't find it hot on the Paris Hiltons. I find it hot on butch lesbians.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you, there is something. Well, I find like butchier lesbians, often hot, and so there's something slightly ironic about that look. And if they're like rocking a certain I don't know, there's a vibe.
You're man-spreading.
I'm in. I'm in.
Whole vibe that we're
You know who you are if you're watching.
I know you put all the
Wow. Okay. So listen to this story. Somebody wrote on Reddit that they found their friend's husband profile on Tinder. And they don't want to ruin that 8-year marriage, but they just can't unsee what they saw. So, Julie, what's the move?
This is the move. Where's the camera? Where do I look? Where do I look?
Oh, right there, number 3.
You have 24 hours to call my girl. Actually, 12. And if you don't tell her, I will be telling her. And I'm not going to call you to see if you told her. Okay?
So you're giving a heads up to the husband. You're giving that's what
he's
you're
got to
doing.
go do it.
He's got to go do it.
You're giving him 24
You're giving him
hours.
24
I'm
hours.
going to shave it down to 12.
That's some
12 hours.
Liam Neeson level threat. I like that.
Yeah. Clap for that.
I do want to share a quick possibility because we just heard this story from a lovely lady in our audience on the commercial break that this exact thing happened to her. So she started getting calls from people who thought that she and her husband were in an open relationship and maybe swingers because her husband's profile was online. And turns out it was a fake profile. A guy was catfishing her husband, pretending to be him and dating women online. To which I asked, are you sure it wasn't your husband? And she said, absolutely not. So what if there was a possibility that this was a fake account?
Yeah, if it's fake, it's fake. That can be cleared up in 3 seconds.
Okay, fair.
Nothing. Like,
Fair.
Well, 4 and 7 years ago when I used to go on those dating apps, I have found a lot of people's husbands on those apps, including a family member whose name I will not say. And I have a strict no meddling in people's marriage rule.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't know what the rules are in that marriage. I don't know if it's an open marriage. I don't know if perhaps he's living in the basement and she's living upstairs and they're breaking up. I don't know what the situation is, but I do know this much. When whoever the messenger is, they say don't kill the messenger, they always kill the messenger. So I've learned to keep myself out of people's business. I figure if it's your husband and you're living with him, you'll know what's going on. Your intuition will kick in. I don't want to be anywhere near it, especially when you're the single woman. They love to come and tell you when you say something. Well, maybe if she had a man of her own, she wouldn't be meddling in my marriage.
No,
And
the
I'm
thing
like,
is, though,
I'm not saying anything.
Having that intel, I'm not telling you to leave him. Now you might be living the for worst part of your your vows, right? I'm saying it's like I already know this. So the accountability, like role reversal. If you saw my husband, I wish you had his picture, almost husband. Hey, I said yes. And no one told me.
No.
Are you crazy?
What about you Scorpios?
Are you
But we're
crazy?
Scorpios. We don't need someone else to tell us. We already in our God know.
Well, hello, in the
We
gut.
already know.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sin?
Well, I was just gonna say, what if you got clever? Like, I get there's nuance to this, and I also agree with you. I have been somebody who's told a friend at one point, and for a little while, I was the enemy.
Yep.
It came around again, and ultimately, she discovered what we already knew, which was he was not good. So, but I wonder if you could just sit down and be like, you don't want to tell your girlfriend outright, but you're like, hey, you know what? There's this new thing on Tinder. I know. Like,
No, that's too much drama.
And then you
Too
bring
much
it on,
acting.
and then you're just like, oh,
Too much acting.
What's this?
Too much acting.
She's gonna yell at you.
Too much acting.
She's gonna
I
yell
will
at
say
you.
this though, that I had something similar to happen, not Tinder vibes, and that friendship had to end because I was carrying. I felt like I was in the marriage too. Right?
Yes.
You know what? You decided that you're gonna live out your vows for better or worse. You could keep your or worse over there. I'm happy over here.
Interesting. Yes, it is.
Mouth shut. You got nothing to say.
Well, even though when we have you here, Julie, you are joyful and happy, but sometimes you are hot and bothered. And what I mean by that is not what you think. October is World Menopause Awareness Month. And Julie, you are involved in an amazing campaign with Sinai Health Foundation.
Ooh.
I told you she's hot and bothered. It says it right there. Tell us about this and why you wanted to join this campaign.
Right, we need to raise this money for, women's care, women's health, women's, yes, it's important, right? We're trying to raise 50 million, but I'll tell you this, the stigma is real. The shame is real for no reason. Half of this universe, this planet, is gonna be going through perimenopause and menopause. I started perimenopause a bit younger, right? I was diagnosed with PCOS, the whole other thing, right? Realizing, you know what? There's help out there for me. There's support out there for me. I need to advocate not just for me, but for my mom, my aunties, my grandmothers who suffered in silence. So true. My siblings, I've lost relationships with my, legit, I'll say it right here, I feel like I'm gonna cry, with my older sisters who are struggling. And I'm like, you know what? It's time, at least for the generations coming, right? Let's raise this money. Let's break the stigma. Let's talk about it. Let's now have marriages work. Let's have women not have to quit their jobs.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out. This is an amazing campaign. You
I'm
look amazing in
passionate.
it. Dr. Wendy Wolfman, who heads up everything over there with women's health at Mount Sinai Hospital. Shout out to her. She's the OG in the menopause space.
Hey.
So, and listen, and especially for women of color who not only suffer worse, you suffer the longest. So care, equality across the board. So thank you for being here.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.